Director of Willard Library, wishing you all a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas from the Children's Department.
And said goodbye and good luck. So it really means a lot to me. So
Does everybody here know that you're...
I think everybody does.
Miss Rhonda's leaving. It is her last day with us.
So
she's been with us 13 years.
13 years.
Very long time. She is.
No, Miss Margaret was here for 50 years. That's not a long time.
Well, it feels like a long time to us.
It feels like a long time to you guys. Okay. Thank you, Miss Lucy. All right. This is one of my favorite Christmas stories because I know this is crazy, but I believe in Santa Claus. You believe in Santa Claus? Yeah. Some people don't, but I still do, and that's what this story is all about, okay? On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound. The sound a friend had told me would never happen. It was the sound of Santa's bells on his sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend insisted. But I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and I saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. Wow. What would you do if you found a train in front of your house? It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door, one of the cars, and he took a large pocket watch from his vest and looked at my window. I put my slippers and robe on and tiptoed down the stairs and out the door. All aboard! The conductor cried out. I ran up to him. Well, he said, are you coming? Where? I asked. This is the Polar Express. This is, I'm waiting for you. And he stretched out his hand and he pulled me up. It's okay. Let's see. Look what they're doing. Look at those pictures. All right, let's see what they're gonna do. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols, we ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa, thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of the town and villages flickered in the distance. The Polar Express raced northward. Ooh. Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through the dark. There was wolves and lean wolves roamed, and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. It's pretty scary. We climbed mountains so high that it seemed we would scrape the moon, but the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over the peaks and through the valleys, like a car on a rocket coaster. See it? Going really fast. In the mountains. The mountains turned into hills, and the hills turned to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner on a frozen sea. There, said the conductor, there is the North Pole. The North Pole, it was a huge city standing at the top of the world, filled with factories that made every Christmas toy ever made. At first we saw no elves. They were gathering in the center of the city, said the conductor. That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. Who receives the first gift? We all asked. The conductor answered, he will choose one of you. Look, shouted one of the children, the elves. Outside we all saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helper, when the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor let us out. See all those people? Wow. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of it stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and they paced. ringing the silver bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound. Nothing like it I had ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and pointed at me. "Let's have this fellow here," he said. The conductor handed me up and I sat on Santa's knee. And he asked, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?" A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa, I skipped the page. Here we go. I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut the bell from the reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood and held it high above him, and he called out, "This is the first gift of Christmas." There it is. Give him a bell. The clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed in the air. Santa circled once above us and then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. Uh-oh. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I could feel was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa's sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. Look, he's pretty sad, isn't he? He lost his silver bell. Uh-oh. Put this together. It broke my heart to lose that bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood in my doorway and waved goodbye to the conductor. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled. He cupped his hands around his mouth and he said, "Merry Christmas!" And the Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away down the track. So here he is at the door. Okay. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah opened all our presents. And when I looked, it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one small last box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was a silver bell. There was a note. "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C." Who do you think Mr. C is? I shook the bell, and it made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," my father said, "it's broken." When I had shaken the bell, my parents had not heard that sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as the years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found that one Christmas she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me as it does for all those who truly, what's this word? Believe. That's right, who truly believe. Okay? You hear the bell? Can you hear the bell? I knew that would happen. All right. Thank you so much. All right, now guys, I think we'll be okay if you do this. If you don't push each other, we'll be okay, all right? So I want you to come pick out a scarf to take home to keep warm, okay? So pick out one that you want. Take your time, find the one you want, okay? All right. And then also I want you to get a treat bag, okay? And you'll find in that treat bag there might be something in there that rings. That makes a pretty sound. All right. Good deal. Good deal. All right. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Merry Christmas, honey. Merry Christmas. I'll be back when you're about in college, probably. Ooh, that's a pretty one.
Did you get your scarf?
Get you, yeah.
We did.
Wow. And there's boy scarves and girl scarves and all kinds of scarves. Miss Darlene, I got plenty. Pick out a scarf.
This is for you to eat in the car going.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I can't wait till you come back.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. Yeah. Dig down the bottom. If you don't find one you want right away, dig all the way down the bottom.
Thanks for reading it.
You bet.
Thanks.
Oh, it was hard. I was trying to let everybody see and hear at the same time. I was kind of hollering, I think, but yeah.
Well, this isn't the most conducive way to do it.
No, but it was, yeah.
But it's the best we
it's a
can do.
program. It's a program. I mean, we haven't had programs. I'm so happy to have a program again.
Yeah.
It's terrible if you're a librarian and you can't do programs.
Oh, no doubt.
So, because that's your job, you know?
It's the lifeblood of them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Henry.
Goodbye.
All right, goodbye. Thank you. You were really good. Thank you so much. Okay?
Can we take your picture?
Sure. Did you get a bag?
She did. Ashton says he's very sorry.
A boy. Get him a boy. A dark color. Yeah.
Ashton says he's very sorry he had speech today.
Oh. All right.
But to tell you goodbye.
Okay.
Lorelai.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
You guys got to make it.
She was so good. Yeah. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
You can go get booked.
Is it broken? Does it work?
Tell us, Rhonda,
Okay.
thank you for your scarf. Can you hear it?
Yep. I believe I still can. I believe I still can.
I can hear it.
All right.
Let's go. When do you leave?
Huh?
When do you leave?
We're not leaving till the day after Christmas. We leave the day after Christmas.
All right. Well,
Come here,
enjoy.
you. I so enjoyed having you and your granddaughter. Great granddaughter or granddaughter? Granddaughter. Oh my God, girl. I love you. Love you too. Yeah, I love you too. You guys are special. Don't ever stop coming here. You hear me? Whoops. Don't ever stop coming here, okay? There'll be somebody better take my place. Yes, there will be. There'll be somebody better. I know Greg already's got somebody in mind. All right. Merry Christmas. Okay? Merry Christmas. All right. Oh, it might have some milk. It might have some. But thank you. Thank you for coming. Pinky shake. You know that one? There we go. Now you wash that hand. You hear me? Okay. All right. See you, Greg. Thank you. Okay. Okay.
And the bell is in there.
Now the candy cane is probably okay, but I'm worried about the chocolate. All right. Thank you, Miss Darling. Darla. All right.
Fun.
Wasn't it? I needed somebody to hold the book for me.
Oh, I know. I thought about